Okay, welcome back folks. We're here with another video, 15 incredible geography facts about the US. This should be a fun one. I've kept this one in the chamber. I've been looking forward to it. Now, if you have been enjoying these daily uploads, folks, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'd highly appreciate it. But let's continue.
I guarantee you don't know just how weird and fascinating US geography is. If you want to wow your friends and acquaintances at the next party you go to, here are 15 incredible facts you need to know about geography of the United States. Let's start with the state that's both the easternmost and westernmost state in the US.
The most eastern and westernmost state in the US? Okay.
We're talking about Alaska. This fascinating geographic quirk comes from the fact that the Aleutian Islands, a very long chain of volcanic islands extending from Alaska into the Pacific Ocean, crosses the 180th meridian, the imaginary line that separates the western and eastern hemispheres. Because some of the islands lie west of this line, Alaska is both in the western and eastern hemispheres, making it technically the easternmost US state. This is an odd distinction, as we typically associate the easternmost points of the US with places like Maine. But geographically, Alaska holds the title for both.
It's unbelievable. Okay, so that we've gotten to a good start, folks. I would never have thought that there's a state that is the eastern and westernmost state of the US. It's a nice quirky stat, one for trivia night, of course. Closest to Africa. Okay, which state do you guys think is the closest to Africa? Is it maybe Florida? But maybe that's too obvious.
Since we're already talking about the eastern seaboard, which state do you think is closest to Africa? It might seem surprising, but Maine is geographically closer to Africa than Florida. Specifically, the distance from Quoddy Head, Maine, the easternmost point of the United States, to El Bedouza, Morocco, is roughly 3,154 miles. In contrast, the distance from Miami, Florida, to the same point in Morocco is about 4,025 miles, making Maine closer by about 800 miles. This surprising fact is due to the curvature of the Earth and the positioning of the continents. While Florida sits much farther south and is closer to the equator, which runs through the heart of Africa, Maine's location is much farther east, and Africa extends much farther north than many people realize. This geographic quirk highlights the often unexpected results of global geography, where straight lines on maps don't always tell the full story due to Earth's spherical shape. It's a fascinating reminder of how the Earth's geometry can make certain locations appear closer than we might expect, based purely on latitude.
Well, folks, tell me, did you get that one right? I guess my guess of Florida wasn't too terrible, but definitely Maine is closer. That big head of Africa is quite deceiving, so Maine is the closest one. Okay. The East has so many more people.
The population distribution of the United States is strikingly uneven. If we were to draw a line just west of San Antonio, Texas, about 80% of the country's population would live east of it, while only 20% resides to the west. This divide reflects both historical patterns and geographic factors. The western side of the country includes major urban centers like New York, Chicago, and Washington, D.C., areas that have been developed and densely populated since the colonial era. In contrast, the western US, despite containing large cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco, is more sparsely populated, largely due to vast stretches of desert, mountains, and wilderness. The West's harsh and rugged landscapes, such as the Rocky Mountains and deserts of the Southwest, have historically made large-scale settlement difficult. Even today, much of the land west of San Antonio consists of national parks, forests, and protected areas, contributing to the population imbalance. And one of the best examples of these sparsely populated western states is Wyoming.
Okay, honestly, that is something that took me for a bit of a spin, folks, because I would assume that the western side had a bit more people, but I was thinking more like 60% to 40%. But 80% of the people in the United States of America live, in the western side. That's crazy. Or was it the eastern side? I'm getting mixed up. But still, one side has 80% whilst the other side has 20%. That is just nuts to me.
Wyoming is, of course, known for its vast open spaces and rugged landscapes, but perhaps most notably, it's known for its extremely low population. In fact, Wyoming's population is so low that it actually has more cattle than people. With a population of just over 580,000, it ranks as the least populous state in the US.
Wow.
Meanwhile, the state's agricultural industry is dominated by cattle ranching, with roughly twice as many cows as people. Cattle grazing plays a significant role in the state's economy, with beef being one of Wyoming's key exports.
That's crazy.
This reflects the broader trend in many western states, where large stretches of land are devoted to ranching and population densities remain very low.
Okay, I was not expecting that. Twice as many cows and people, folks. That is
stretching approximately 5,525 miles, the longest international border in the world is between the United States and Canada. Okay. This immense boundary runs from the Atlantic Ocean in the east to the Pacific in the west, crossing diverse landscapes such as the Great Lakes, prairies, forests, and mountains. It also includes the border between Alaska and Canada, which alone spans over 1,500 miles. Despite its length, the US-Canada border is known for being relatively peaceful and unfortified, in stark contrast to many other international boundaries. Both countries maintain a healthy relationship, and their shared border facilitates extensive trade and cultural exchange. Additionally, the two countries have various agreements to manage their border, including the Great Lakes-St. Lawrence River Basin Sustainable Water Resources Agreement, as well as various partnerships for national parks that straddle the boundary.
I mean, that one, I think, makes a little bit more sense. You know, you consider that Canada is the second largest country in the world, the US is the third largest country in the world, and that border extends through the whole, you know, almost the whole diameter of both countries. So it makes sense that that's probably the biggest border, you know, in the world. If you look at Russia and, you know, the western part of Europe, or Russia and Ukraine, it's only a smaller section of Russia. So despite Russia's size, the actual border is a lot smaller than between US and Canada. So yeah, I believe that.
Speaking of the Great Lakes, Lake Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario are a global freshwater treasure, holding about 21% of all surface freshwater on Earth. These five...
No ways. That cannot be. So these lakes have 21% of all the surface fresh water on the whole entire planet.
Interconnected lakes contain over 6 quadrillion gallons of water, providing drinking water for over 40 million people in the US and Canada.
Wow.
Formed by retreating glaciers at the end of the last ice age, the Great Lakes span more than 94,000 square miles and are vital to North America's ecology and economy. Together, they support a vast array of fish and wildlife and serve as important trade routes, with shipping channels connecting the heartland of North America to the Atlantic in both the east and south. Today, the Great Lakes water is protected by the Great Lakes Compact, a legally binding interstate agreement between Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and the Canadian provinces of Ontario and Quebec.
Colorado's borders aren't straight lines.
Now let's take a look at Colorado. This state is known for its rectangular shape, but its real borders are not as straight as they appear on maps. When Colorado was created in 1876, its borders were meant to follow specific lines of latitude and longitude. However, the tools used for surveying in the 19th century were not as precise as modern GPS technology, leading to slight inaccuracies. Over time, as more accurate surveys have been conducted, minor corrections have been made to the state's boundaries. These changes are mostly imperceptible to the average person, but demonstrate how geography and human technology can influence the way we define political borders.
Did you folks know that? Or did you always just assume it was just a square?
The same phenomenon can be found in other states with supposedly straight borders.
Interesting.
Surprisingly, the largest rainforest in the United States isn't located in Hawaii or Florida, but in Alaska. The Tongass National Forest, covering over 16.7 million acres, is the largest national forest in the country and is also a temperate rainforest. Located in southeast Alaska, it forms part of the Pacific Temperate Rainforest.
That is interesting looking, hey? That is beautiful. I wonder, imagine all the different types of wildlife you would find in this region.
Largest remaining temperate rainforest in the world. The Tongass is characterized by its dense, old-growth...
Okay, folks, that is just such a beautiful, beautiful picture. Have any of you actually visited this area? Is it safe to visit, or a lot of the wildlife quite dangerous in these parts. But holy smokes, that is a beautiful, beautiful picture.
Forests of Sitka spruce, western hemlock, and red cedar, along with a rich array of wildlife, including bears, wolves, and salmon. The forest plays a crucial role in local ecosystems, supporting biodiversity and regulating the climate by absorbing carbon dioxide. It's also a vital resource for the indigenous communities who have lived in the region for thousands of years. However, as with other rainforests, the Tongass is threatened by logging and climate change, sparking debates about conservation efforts.
Yeah, come on, folks. Beautiful regions like that, we need to conserve. I'm a big proponent of conserving those regions. There's going to be a time when we don't even have these rainforests anymore. And you think about all the habitats that they serve, all the animals that live there. Hopefully we can find other ways to, produce the resources that we need so we can conserve those beautiful rainforests.
In California, Mount Whitney and Death Valley are only 85 miles apart, yet they represent two of the most extreme points in the contiguous United States.
What?
Mount Whitney, standing at 14,505 feet, is the tallest mountain in the lower 48 states, while Badwater Basin in Death Valley, at 282 feet below sea level, is the lowest point. This proximity between such extreme elevations is a result of the unique tectonic and erosional forces that shape California's landscape. Death Valley's basin formed due to the stretching and thinning of the Earth's crust, while Mount Whitney rose from tectonic collisions. Together, they highlight the dramatic geologic diversity of the state.
Okay, folks, that is actually an interesting fact that you would not know unless you were told. Just 85 miles apart separates the highest point in the United States from the lowest. I mean, that is just bizarre. So the one is 14,000, was it square feet or square kilometers high, whilst the other one was minus 280. That's crazy.
The Mississippi River Basin is one of the largest drainage systems in the world, covering 1.2 million square miles and draining water from 41% of the United States.
Wow.
The basin spans 31 states and includes major rivers like the Missouri and Ohio, all flowing into the Mississippi River before emptying into the Gulf of Mexico. This vast watershed is essential for agriculture, transportation, and freshwater resources in the U.S. The Mississippi River alone is about 2,340 miles long, making it the second longest river in the country, behind the Missouri River, a tributary of the Mississippi.
What? Is that true? So the Mississippi River is 2,340 miles long, and the largest river in the United States is just 1 mile longer. Can you believe it? You lost out by 1 mile. Unbelievable.
The river basin supports a variety of ecosystems, from wetlands and forests to prairies and mountains, and is home to millions of people and countless species of wildlife. However, the river system is also prone to flooding and faces significant environmental issues such as pollution from agricultural runoff. Once these nutrients, vital for farming, end up in the Gulf, they feed algae, which chokes off any other marine life present. But the size of the Mississippi is not even the most interesting fact about this famous river.
What is the most famous fact? It flows
In
backwards.
1811 and 1812, a series of massive earthquakes in the central United States caused the Mississippi River to flow backward temporarily. The New Madrid earthquakes, as they became known, were so powerful that they caused ground subsidence, which forced the river to reverse its course in some places. The shaking caused waterfalls to form in certain stretches of the river, and eyewitnesses reported seeing water moving upstream. This event is one of the most remarkable in U.S. geologic history and demonstrates the power of tectonic forces even far away from active fault lines. Today, seismic activity in the New Madrid seismic zone still poses a risk to the region.
Interesting, folks. The graveyard of the Pacific Ocean.
The graveyard of the Pacific is a treacherous stretch of coastline along the Pacific Northwest, particularly the waters around the Columbia River Bar, where more than 2,000 ships have met their fate.
Wow.
This notorious area stretches from Oregon's coast to Vancouver Island, British Columbia, and is infamous for its dangerous weather conditions, strong currents, and shifting sandbars. In fact, the Columbia Bar is one of the most hazardous river entrances in the world. Where the powerful Columbia River meets the Pacific Ocean, extreme waves and shifting sand create perilous conditions that have claimed countless ships. This hazardous area has been a threat to ship captains for centuries as stormy weather, dense fog, and sudden changes in water depth frequently cause vessels to run aground, capsize, or collide with hidden obstacles. Efforts to mitigate these dangers have included the construction of lighthouses, jetties, and a highly skilled team of Columbia Bar pilots who help guide ships safely across the bar. Despite these measures, the region's volatile nature continues to make it a dangerous area for navigation, maintaining its reputation as the graveyard of the Pacific.
So folks, if you ever get on a boat, try and stay away from that region. That region is bad news if you are on a boat. The longest cave system in the world.
Kentucky's Mammoth Cave National Park is home to the longest cave system in the world, with over 400 miles of explored passages and potentially many more yet to be discovered. Mammoth Cave has a rich history, with indigenous peoples using the caves thousands of years ago and modern explorers continuing to map its vast network of tunnels. The cave system is formed from limestone and shaped by the slow action of groundwater eroding the rock over millions of years. It contains a diverse array of subterranean ecosystems, including unique species of fish and bats. The cave's size and complexity make it a marvel of natural geology.
Okay, that is amazing. What do you folks feel about caves? I know some people that swear to never ever step foot in them. They get claustrophobic. Even if there's a lot of space around them, they just will not enter a cave. I know a lot of people love, exploring them. Please let me know what you feel. I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle. If there's enough open space, and I would like to explore, but any slight tunnel where every part of my body is touching the sides, please, you'll never find me in those small narrow passages. Largest desert is growing.
Did you know the US is home to both hot and cold deserts? Unlike the hot deserts of the American Southwest, the Great Basin, located in Nevada and Utah, experiences cold winters, often with snowfall. However, as temperatures rise and precipitation patterns vary due to climate change, the desert's boundaries are slowly extending. This expansion impacts local ecosystems, water resources, and agriculture. The Great Basin is already one of the driest areas in North America, and its growth highlights the broader environmental challenges of a warming planet.
Growing desert, eh?
Hawaii, specifically the Big Island, is the only US state that's physically growing. This is due to the ongoing volcanic activity of Kilauea, one of the most active volcanoes on Earth. When lava from Kilauea flows into the ocean, it cools and solidifies, adding new land to the island's coastline. Over the past few decades, Kilauea has continuously erupted, increasing the island's size by hundreds of acres. The volcanic activity also shapes Hawaii's landscapes, from black sand beaches to towering lava cliffs. While the eruptions can be destructive to human settlements, they are also responsible for creating the fertile, lush landscapes that make Hawaii so unique. There's many more fascinating
I did not know so many of those facts. That is pretty insane. Wow. That was a very fun video to react to. I hope you guys found that video to be fun as well, and hopefully many people learned something from this. But yes, folks, if you did enjoy this video as much as I did, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. But yes, folks, that is all I have for you today. I guess I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Cheers.